Yes.
Just to follow up. Now, your counterpart at the Russian Foreign Ministry, Maria Zakharova, said today that basically it was the terrorists, what she called the terrorists, that time and again broke the ceasefire before. And she noted what happened on May 1 and May 3rd and so on. And she's saying basically it is Dept al-Nusra and others who have been trying to frustrate or to break the hudna, the cessation of hostilities, since it went into effect on last February. So do you have any comment on that?
Well, it's an interesting comment to make because they're not parties to the cessation of hostilities. Designated terrorist groups are not party to it. So nobody ever expected them to observe it.
Okay. But so then she says that made them, a fair target by government forces and so on. So when you say that they're not part of the cessation, then they're a fair target. Then the government has, or everybody else, much as like the coalition or the Russians and so on, has every right to go ahead and bomb them, right?
They're not a party to the cessation, so they are fair targets for kinetic strikes. Yeah.
Okay. And that includes the areas that may not be delineated between this group or that group and so on.
We've talked about this before, Saeed.
I understand.
I know, but I feel like sometimes we're retreading the same ground over and over again.
Right.
I'm not disputing the fact that in Aleppo, these groups can be intermingled. In fact, sometimes it's by design, especially by groups like Al-Nusra that want to help try to protect themselves by being geographically close or intermixed with groups that either civilians or opposition groups that they know are parties to the cessation of hostilities. I'm also not saying, and never have said, that there haven't been violations of the cessation by certain members of the opposition. There has been. That said, by and large, the violations have been as a result of the regime. And what we've asked, certainly in our conversations with Russia particularly, is that if they are going to undertake strikes, which they have, against al-Nusra and against Daesh, that they do so with as much precision as they can so that they are just hitting those groups and not anybody else. I can't say with certainty that has always been the case, that there haven't been in these strikes also strikes against the opposition and against civilians. And on the regime side, we can say definitively we know that the regime has not abided by the cessation, particularly there in Aleppo, and has deliberately, on purpose, gone out and struck civilian targets and opposition targets. But it's a very fluid situation there, very dynamic, which is why, quite frankly, it was so important for us to get this reaffirmation in place a couple of days ago in Aleppo.
Now, one